What's good, everybody? We're back at it once again.
Oh,
Yep.
100%.
Yes, we
Yep.
yeah. The stream is going, and we left off driving the cart, calling them posers, waving a flag.
I mean, I could
Yeah.
always summon Tut Tut if you guys need an extra
Welcome,
spec key.
No,
welcome
we're
to
good.
the
Plenty of
party.
room. You
All
be
right.
good with Vulcan back there.
All right.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm
he's
excited to
Probably
see how
appreciates that.
excited to
Yeah.
see how Esther does with his fetch and return.
Yeah, yeah.
This is
How
gonna be the
is
moment. I'm
how
ready
is
to STFU so we can hear that.
I mean, I'm sure he
Yeah.
won't kill or hurt anyone.
That's so out of character.
Yeah.
Klaus isn't even there.
Yeah, he'll probably. You're right. He probably will kill a bunch of people and hurt a
he'll
lot more.
he will protect the goat if nothing else.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
True that.
That is at least a thing he could do. We shall find out. Um so yeah, you did kind of split two ways. That is true. So we would just assume that unless there's anything that you would want to happen on the way to that cave system with a forge, you absolutely just get there because there's nothing all that dangerous on that way, and you're also with like one of the guys from the city that could help out because Volkan is interested in getting there too. So let's say yeah, you definitely get there. Um, but Esther went to find Enora, the I guess kind of hidden away princess that went somewhere into the woods.
She went with the resties, right?
Yes, she went with Orestes. She went with the goat, and yeah, the last time you saw was kind of half a day off. Well, not even that. A few hours, um, kind of southeast, no, southwest to from Astoria, where you kind of parted ways, and you went back to the city, and she went kind of the other way. Yep. So there's not a lot of, I guess, like she was going to hide, so unless she did a really bad job at that, I'm interested in finding out how Esther goes about the search. And yeah, everybody else just kind of gets all the way to this cave entrance and to the forge. Yeah, that's that. Also, you have Vulcan with you with like a big bag of metal implements he made, especially to find a way to seal a certain hole.
Yeah, do we have some
So-
kind of sticker on the cart that says "Drive slow"? We're riding with children.
uh, no, you don't.
Oh shit! All right, be extra careful, Soren. Sharon. Yeah, just keep waving the flag.
Okay. Vulcan just is doing his best to kind of keep his sanity and ignore you as much as he possibly can. All the
I'm
way.
pretty sure
Like,
he's how I die. I'm pretty
he
committed.
will like do math in his head just to be, thinking about something else.
Does he understand how stupid I am?
I mean, I did tell him.
Yes, he
Okay.
like everybody else will know that he is definitely
Sherwin is
just
here.
actively trying to kind
Sherwin is
of
here.
keep
Shell
his
Daddy
cool as much
in
as
the
he
bit
can
in the business.
because he also thinks you're as like for him being stupid is not like a complete excuse to being annoying, and he thinks you're annoying
Yeah, it's fair.
mainly because of this child thing. So had that not been a thing, you don't know. I mean, he might have been less, it might be less bothersome to him, but he's just.
Sounds to me like he's being the
You
bigger
made a
person.
friend.
All right.
He did not take all that kindly to that. detail.
Sure.
I'm kind of like
So-
he's being
Sherwin
about
is
it.
level 6 right now.
No, he's being pretty
He
cool,
is-
actually.
He is
Being pretty
like
fucking cool.
he's still like actively, very actively trying
Level
to
level 6 life
you know,
cleric.
get on with everybody else and try to ignore the guy that he kind of gets triggered by. So
Perfect.
that's his kind
Uh,
of stance.
yes.
As long as
yes,
we know
I
where the
do.
borders are.
I
Alright?
have a magical warhammer.
You know,
Um,
worst case, I have to roll for it.
He's gonna kill me.
It
guys.
is,
It's just a matter of time.
I mean, there's
One-
still, you know,
we're
there's-
trying to
it's
get
very obvious
it
that he's
fixed right now,
not
like upgraded,
a bad guy in any
and
way,
the
he's
other magic items that we
actively
have,
trying to
that
just
belong
kind of
to,
manage his own,
like legends.
you know, maybe
Oh, and
a little bit interesting temperament
I also have a
in that
headband
way.
of intellect.
Alright.
now.
You know, you can think
So,
about all his experiments and all
Smart
this
AF.
work that he has in front of him, pretty much, because he's getting to his forge finally. So that's a good thing.
Doing his
I don't
best,
think
but he's
we're-
intrusive thought after a bad night's sleep away, fucking losing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There,
Also
right
true.
now it's a +1 Warhammer,
So yeah, we
but
can
there's
either
like
start
more to it.
with the forge, or we can maybe hear for like what Esther's plan is to find Anora and
Yeah,
possibly the goat and everything, which, you know, just figuring out the plan would be interesting.
I'm curious to know what Esther's doing personally.
Yeah. So
Okay,
what are you doing?
so, I know where they started from, and he
Yes.
told us which direction that he would take her. Say,
Dart, stop.
Yeah.
um,
I can actually put you to the one map where I have a little picture. I could maybe add a bigger one at some point. Because I have on my intro map, there is.
Just a ton of blood.
No, there's actually
Crimes.
an image of just, you know, the area around Astoria where
Yeah.
you would be searching. So let me just put you all over there, I guess.
Oh no.
I don't think this map has any,
You just fall. And, oh
like,
no.
you don't need to
Oh
do
no.
anything. I just need to
Oh,
make
no,
it
no.
smaller.
Oh,
because
that's
they
a-
tend to be-
That's a big shell daddy
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah, you're all kind of big on this because it keeps going back to. I did change it twice, but it hasn't kept.
This might be kind of difficult to play in these glasses, but I'm committed.
Are they polarized? Like, are there angles where you can't see the screen at all, or just
Nope.
out of curiosity?
It's just all around not great.
Okay, so it's bad in any angle.
Oh, yeah.
let's put it this way:
But
there's
you-
also no good angles.
Yeah.
yeah.
Here for it.
For those of
Just-
you that don't know,
By the way, this was inspired by Randy as the murder mystery we played the other week. He
Nice.
won Best Dressed.
you know, I
Let's,
came in
let's
hot.
give it up.
Came in
Well
hot.
done. He crushed it. He crushed it.
Woohoo.
Hey, congratulations.
It was
Well
the
done.
disco ball helmet. It was the disco
It was
ball
great.
helmet.
It was
Perfect.
Disco Ball Bahamut.
I'll have to.
Was that, wait, what? Was that Baphomet?
Disco Baphomet.
Yeah, it sounds exactly the same. I'm still not sure. What
It just, I'm sure, I'm telling
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
it would answer so
All
many
right, Wiz,
questions.
we'll see you in a bit.
Uh-huh.
I'm a great paladin, you know? I put the pale in paladin. Shit.
Oh wow.
Big truth.
So just to give you kind of an idea what you assume they might have done, it looks a little bit like that there's mountain that kind of makes it a bit unclear. So let's, you know, about here would be where the, like, right to the western side of the city is where this sacrificial stone thing was in the river.
Mm-hmm.
And you would have like the assumption is that they went a bit deeper into the forest and probably didn't quite follow the river because that's kind of where the road goes. Like there's a bit of a like merchant's road that does lead south and that follows the river, but they probably just kind of went off to kind of the south from there where there's more forest, because the further north you go the more it becomes kind of a steppe and just tundra-ish, but depends on how far you go. There's less to hide in, but there's those mountains here somewhere. So it's either somewhere in those mountains where, because they did talk about a cave, they could be there. They might have also been at some point crossing over and just going further south where there are mountains as well. Like there's this valley. You came through that valley once, and that's when you went to the necropolis. Because there's the path up to the necropolis in there.
So
I cannot be sure. They might even have crossed over again to like the eastern side of the river.
So I know that he said that he knew a place, and he's a satyr,
Yes.
which are really accustomed to being in mountainous terrain. So I would think
Yes.
that he was going to take her somewhere safe that only he could go, that a mountain cave.
Mm-hmm.
Best bet. So I will head towards the mountains, and I want to first locate a spot with accessible food and water that is
Okay.
near somewhere that looks like a system of caves.
Okay, that sounds very much like a perfect survival check, actually, because it's what you would look for a place to rest for the night as well, and it's all those same kinds of things that play into it.
So what's it going to
Basically,
be?
trying to find a place where I would hide.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
21.
Not bad.
You do come across several interesting, like, beginnings of little, almost pathways into the more mountainous region, but do quite quickly discover that going quite high up is probably not going to help, because it does get very barren and there might be some places to hide, but they're also pretty exposed. So it's more, it would make more sense to look where there's still like under the kind of
Tree line.
where there's still where there's still at least some bushes. So under the tree line or right at the tree line, maybe, like, where there's still a little bit of vegetation to use for both, technically also like firewood and stuff, and for just hiding. Also, it's more probable to get some food there because most of the water is also further down, if at all. There's little trickles, but right now most of those are dry. So I guess with a 21, you would definitely figure that the best bet is that they either went a little bit further to get to a place where maybe there's a river that actually still has a lot of water, because this river here right now is pretty like dry. It's not completely dried, but it's very little water, and there's no big, like, areas around it are pretty dry, still affected by Sidon's little drought thing that has going on. So as you go, like, you figure it's probably between the river and those first few mountains there somewhere, if at all, in this area. and you do find at least tracks for animals. Problem is, there's quite a lot of tracks. Like you see a lot of them in kind of a north-south direction, mostly.
Would this match up with the like line of animals that I saw like leaving?
Yeah, at least some of those seem to be that. It's a bit hard to tell because it's still going through underbrush and stuff. In places, it's a bit hard to tell if there's also kind of resting places or anything like that. You would probably have to like look from below instead of from the dragon's back, pretty much.
Yeah. I'm just I'm from the dragon's back. I'm just looking for spots that would be
Yeah.
worth me like, actually.
You kind of find an area where you could look.
Okay.
Only problem being that you cannot be sure, of course, if they went further or not. But yeah, around that area looks pretty promising.
Would it be promising enough for me as someone who's hit before?
Yeah,
to
because
stay
yeah.
in a long time?
Yes, because it's quite close to the water, and because you know that they intended to like really stay for some time, you know that water would be one of the main concerns because everything else can somehow be managed usually,
Mhm.
but having access to water is pretty important.
And I do know that he has access to good bits because
Yep. Yep.
So I know that they have food covered, and I
Yeah.
know technically they would also have milk covered because of goat, but I don't know how.
Unless the goat doesn't get enough food, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but we have to for sure feed the goat. So yeah, I'll land
Yes.
there. I'll give it a look.
Okay. You kind of land where it's a kind of a hilly, but also still very. There's a lot of trees and shrubs and brush, just underbrush, just all these plants, kind of growing interestingly thickly for a place where there's also little water. But they seem to be very. It seems to be a growth that you recognize because of the kind of eye that you have for it. It's partly because it looks like animals don't eat as much anymore of these bushes and stuff. Like anything that's small probably would have usually been kept smaller by animals just eating off the branches. Right now it looks like it's a bit, yeah, it looks a bit empty. It's a little bit like a disused forest in a way.
Interesting. It's almost like all the animals are clearing out of here for some reason.
Yeah, it definitely looks a bit like they're bleeding.
Do I see tracks of various kinds of animals, like with a high level of variety?
You're looking right at that right now, and you do find different tracks. It looks like different animals, and it looks like they tend to go either north or south. Quite a lot to the south, but there's definitely like groups that go north, and most of those are somewhat hoofed, or at least some kind of animals that leave, like toe prints and stuff, like those kinds of animals mostly. There's a few tracks that you aren't exactly sure about. They're just kind of, there must have been a tail or something. They got kind of deleted on the way, so it's like something just cleaned them off after the actual imprint was made.
Do I see any tracks that okay, so instead of that, I would like to go up into the woods, or how about I want to go along the edge of water and
Okay.
look for signs in the forest line of like anybody breaking branches off, chopping wood for fires.
Okay. Just to make sure, make a perception check. I'll still kind of count your high survival to it, though. Nice. You do see a few places actually where wood has been broken off the trees and the bushes, and also some of it been, kind of chopped off, but with probably not the most suitable kind of weapon.
Say like
There's
maybe
definitely signs like that. It doesn't even take you that long. It's just you do see the first kinds of little tracks or traces of someone taking wood, but do continue on a little bit, and you do see that it becomes more concentrated towards a certain area. You go and you kind of can almost see like the middle of it all. Like there's a certain center point where there's quite a lot chopped away, but you also see that it's someone did try to kind of camouflage it a little bit by doing like as many different areas and sides as they could. It's visible that it's someone trying to not be all that visible.
Yeah. Can I try to calibrate where like there might be a good shelter spot in this vicinity based on where they're getting the wood from?
You would probably you know that there's the hilly area around the tree line is like if you just walk into the wood a little bit, you'll get to more and more rocky terrain basically until you at some point would meet the mountain itself, and you would have to go probably look in there because around the river you have the road is almost like mostly visible on the other side of the river. It's a very simple kind of cart track, but it's there and it's being overgrown as well, but not as much. And then you have on this side not all that much. There's a little bit of a bank area where it's just very small little shoots, but no real big trees mostly. Just a few. Those have not been touched. Like they are they're single trees that would just be very obvious as if someone started chopping them down. But the further back you go,
I'd probably head
yeah,
up the mountains then and start looking for tracks and
yeah,
Excuse me.
good, like a spot for a good one.
yes. You do get, as you kind of walk in, you do get to a point where you have like a big kind of it's a bit like a creek kind of thing. It's probably an old riverbed or something like that, where something or someone walking there. But you don't with your perception check, you don't quite. You're in the right area. You would have to figure something out to. It's still kind of a big area to search. You can either just take the time and just walk around and kind of do a zigzag in order to, find and just walk along all these little areas there. Or you have something else that could help you.
So I think I'm going to
I just changed the filter. My little AC.
All right. So what
It
I'm
is
gonna do
gross.
is I'm going to huddle up Squigs and
Now I'm
Lobi,
hot.
Hmm.
use summon to summon Pseudo Squigs in his
Okay.
flying form.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do a huddle. Be like, all right, this is what we're looking for. And we'll describe exactly who and what we're looking for and what they look like.
Okay. One search party. Great.
Yep.
Yep.
And then be like, okay, they're probably gonna be freaked out, but they Squigs looks like, so they should recognize Pseudo Squigs and Squigs.
Yeah.
Little B, I'm a little bit more concerned with.
Bruh,
I
it's
think
gonna
I'm
be-
have him
Yep.
stay
It's gonna
with
be
me.
hot this weekend.
Okay.
And
Real hot.
then I'm going to. I don't have any way of like contact.
No, probably not.
If worse comes to worse, no, I don't think any of them has ever heard of Roots either. So,
Hmm.
yeah, so I'm gonna go with that for now. And I'm
Okay.
gonna have them spread out and look together,
Okay.
and like look separately while I go and look.
Okay, so you're basically splitting 3 ways. That'll get you to cover much more ground in pretty much like one go. And it
No, it
takes
doesn't.
you all about, an hour or so. I'll actually roll. Split 3 ways. And it would be Squigs that finds them. Or something. Would you have just like figured out a time when you would meet again, or how would you imagine you would, get back together, or
So,
just kind of look for each other?
the summon and Squigs both innately know where I'm at. So if
Yeah.
they found them,
So they can always get back to you. It's just, yeah, okay.
yeah. If I would have been the one to find them, then I'd have to resummon Squigs,
Nope,
but I
it's
can.
Squigs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he would know, and then he'd have to come back.
Okay. So he would it's still a good hour or so into you just kind of looking over quite a lot of very cracked stone that does look like it's kind of being eroded away by the plant life around and probably also the weather. It's a little cumbersome to, get along, but I mean, you can climb all you want. But he just kind of comes just scuttling over to you over a few rocks and just kind of, on all fours just gets there and looks at you with pretty big eyes, and like right as he just comes up to you, that he has some news, and he would tell you that, yeah, I
Awesome.
think I found the woman. This is what he says.
Oh, well, that's wonderful to hear. All right, little beat, Squigs, let's go. I'd say hop up. But
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, you can, take a little bit of a shortcut if you fly as close as you can and then go from there.
Yeah.
Are you trying to like stealth up, or is this just like walking up?
Well, he said he found the woman we're looking for, right?
He said, I think I found the woman, yeah.
All right, I would have to be like, the woman we're looking for is shit. What was his name?
Anora is her name.
No, I remembered her name, which is weird enough. But
Orestes?
Orestes, yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, Festies. That's not it. I was like,
Somewhere along those lines, yeah.
I would ask if he saw him or Tom Sarita Brady with it.
No, he just kind of shakes his head. Haven't seen those.
You saw the princess.
yeah.
All right, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be trying to stealth up. I would try to not surprise
Okay.
them best I could.
Okay. So, just as non-threateningly as you possibly can, you come there with your like one-man little search troop.
Yeah, it's a bunch of dragons.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of dragons going up to their little cave. And yeah, you do find a little cave that is a little bit of a crooked kind of triangle shape at the entrance, and it's just kind of tilted to one side because it's basically one big stone slab that seems to rest against a bunch of other, like a stone wall. Quite a lot of moss on it as well, and lichen, but it's all pretty dry. And there is a little fireplace where you like a little. It's actually built over in a way that it's still gonna smoke and all that, but it can be a little bit more hidden in just terms of not spreading the light everywhere. And it might also work as a little oven. Um, and you have
Nod at the
definitely
engineer.
yeah, it's there's signs of this. Someone has actually made this work quite nicely, as it's like it seems to be quite quite a good idea in this area to just have, it's probably also helping to direct the heat in the right area where you actually want it. So yeah, so you get there, and you do see Anora in, I mean, it's the same clothing that she's had before. It's just a lot
She's
more
never
torn and
close.
She's looking
you know,
dirty.
uh, it's yeah. I mean, she looks pretty rugged in a lot of ways. Just more like a forest dweller now, um, but healthy and a bit startled at first as she kind of hears the first kind of noise, which is probably just like a twig or something that snaps. Um, But as she sees you and you are not trying to hide, so um, she would recognize you and she would recognize Squeaks. She would look twice at the other dragon and, also be confused about the two Squeaks, probably a bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of later, middle of the day,
Well,
and she
howdy,
just looked up at you. Oh, hello?
so
Hello,
you ready to go home?
it's me.
What about Sidon? Is the first and
Well,
only thing she says.
Sidon, he still a problem overall, but we pretty much fixed that situation in the city. We've scared the army off,
Okay.
stored food to the city, and the entire cult is gone.
She just kind of brightens up as you said that, all that, and she just, like, you see her just kind of getting up and without even like looking for stuff that might be left in the cave or anything, just kind of goes, well, okay, in that case, let's go home.
Well, where's Resties and my goat?
You see her like,
If there's little baby
There's a
satyrs running
little-
around because the resties decided to get with the goat, that's a problem.
you do see like a
Oh,
little.
I thought you were gonna say about his daughter, not the goats, man. Damn, you
Oh.
savage, dude.
No.
For real.
Like there's
I wouldn't put it
an
past the half goat man,
uncertain look
okay?
on her.
Look who's
I
Solomon.
mean, She doesn't quite know actually. So we went here and we found this place, and he helped me build a little bit of a place where it's easier to stay, and he also helped me a lot with wooden stuff in the beginning, and well, it's not all that warm, or well, it's not that cold right now.
I'll be right
so
back, guys.
we try to use that sparingly, so we'd have also just a bit more for winter. So she kind of points into the cave, and you do see that there's a big stack of wood that they obviously just kind of saved for later. But he went somewhere. I did not quite understand what he meant. But then, well, the goat went with him because, well, he told me the goat said that she wanted to come. I'm not sure. I mean, it's a goat. Yeah, I haven't seen them in a while. And like, there's a mix of maybe some worry in her eyes and also just pure confusion.
Can you tell me exactly where he said he was going, even if you don't understand it?
Well, he said somewhere. Like, you see, it's like she doesn't like to say it. It's like she's
Did he-
almost sorry that that's what she can tell you.
Did she say? Did he say he's going to? I would say the city that that the chick tried to draw me to.
She's trying to think about what exactly happened, and then she just let me actually see what she does
Oh, is it
remember
kind of like
exactly.
she's like blanking on it, like she can't
No,
remember?
not really. But she's trying to she's trying to remember something that was confusing at the time and is still confusing, and she's had other things to deal with as well. And you definitely have this feeling that she's trying to be very accurate in what she tells you next, and that's
Yeah.
basically, well, so he went just scouting one day and said he'd be right back. And so he came back a few hours later. The goat was around. We kind of had to just graze wherever it could. He sometimes also took it a bit further south because there's more water, and there's more grass, and you kind of look around. The floor here is pretty barren, probably because a goat has also been eating most of the vegetation that's suitable for
Yeah.
a goat, and they
Mm.
aren't that. Well, and then he came back and was somewhat excited about something. And he told me he would tell me later. I think was what he said. Yeah, I think he just went, well, I need to look at something and then I'll tell you later. And then he went to look for that. And that was about a week before he then just vanished. And that's maybe like been at least, well, 2 weeks now. But he went to kind of to the south from here for a while, but I think he also pointed upwards when he said he found something. So I guess he was somewhere in the mountains. I'm not sure. But the second time he left was when he said that the goat wanted to come. I'm not entirely sure what that means still. I tried to ask him. He's very hard to ask something. Like, he has a very confusing way of saying things.
Yeah,
And
I'm fully on board with what you're saying. He's a weird motherfucker.
so yeah, she
Thank you
is
for saying
confused.
that. I guess we'll just have to kind of figure that out when that comes around. And I would like scrape into the inside of the cave, like where she's at.
Mhm.
Scrape
Yeah.
into it, went home,
Yeah. Okay.
and then sign it Esther.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd pull out some
Anora is still very impressed by, your collection of dragons. The whole time you do whatever you want to do around there, you'll see her kind of being a bit impressed.
I'd hand her some rations and be like, oh yeah, I forgot. This is Balmeteor the second. I call him Little B. We gotta figure out what his real name is and get him back up to size. You've met Squid, and this one is Squid's. He's a son.
She just looks very long and quite like almost stares at Belmetria the second and goes, I think I might have seen this one before too.
Oh yeah, this was Guy's.
Yes. Are you sure this is safe?
Well, he seems to like me.
Okay.
It's not
Okay.
safe.
Well,
It's not safe.
Now,
It's not
the
safe
thing
at
about
all.
working with dragons is it's never really safe. They are highly intelligent. So you always got to be on your guard and make sure you respect them as much as they respect you. If you don't
okay.
do that,
Yeah.
then you never. He just starts going into
Yeah,
a spiel
yeah.
about how dangerous dragons are just in general. Like,
Yes. Yes.
Somebody watch Tiger King. Nice.
No, I watched Steve Irwin growing up.
I mean, she does take you quite seriously, actually. Like she recognizes all your whole exposition of how to, I guess approach a dragon correctly and all that. With some awe, like she's taking you like really for like that. This is your area of expertise, that kind of thing. She actually listens and tries to kind of remember stuff and all that.
I just like come at the end of it and everything. And I really thank Little B here just
Okay. Yes.
scratch behind the ears.
I'll do my very best. So you said it's okay if we went home.
Yeah, we should.
Well, it's not that late yet. Should we just go?
Yeah.
Like she seems to be a bit impatient in that matter, which I guess makes sense.
She hasn't been home in a while. I would
Yeah.
like to do an insight check just.
Okay, yeah, do that.
We're good.
Indeed. What are you trying to figure out about her? What's your direction in this? Where are you trying to?
I want to see if she's lying and if like if she's lying about what she said before and if she's in a rush for reasons other than just tired.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get why she's tired and everything.
Yes. Yes.
Is there a different reason why she's in a rush?
Mm-hmm. You're pretty sure that she's both actually a bit like worried about what Orestes was talking about and where he might have gone, and she will actually like leave a little. She can ask you, do you by any chance have anything that's possibly a good like note paper kind of thing on you that you would share with her? Like she'll go, well, do you have some kind of vellum or parchment or anything on you that I could maybe write a little note? I don't know if he's coming back here. I assume so.
Oh yeah, hold on. Pulls out the Sidon ledger and like flips to the back where it's got empty pages and
Nice. Okay, yeah. Yep. She takes the sheet of paper and just takes out a little bit of charcoal from this little oven thing, and writes a note, which she does not hide from you. It's basically just, "Dear Orestes, I went back home to Astoria. Come visit if you get back here." And she puts that inside the cave on a little. It looks like the eating area. Probably there's a big flat stone, and like some, albeit dry, but there's moss around it, and it's like a little bit of a maybe more comfortable sitting area.
Yeah.
She puts it on this table kind of thing, and then puts another stone on top so it doesn't blow away or anything. And that's all she does to be ready for that. And with the inside, you also like, she's definitely just anxious to get back home, because that's just a very exciting prospect that she did not think about when she got up this morning. And now it's like, let's go home. And
Okay.
she did not lie about any of this, as far as you can tell. She is very honestly confused about it as well.
All right. That's good, but it also does worry me more about the rest. But I will.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
priority is to get her back home safe.
Yeah.
Now, like he was supposed to be there watching her. You know what I'm saying? And now she's just
Yeah.
there on her own. Like that's not
Yeah.
that's not a good look.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I would go up to Little B and I'd be like, Little B, can you carry the both of us?
He looks at both of you, and just goes, "Well, you are small. Mm, she's not so small.
It's fine.
Looks maybe a little heavy. I can try. I'm a strong dragon. I can try."
All right. Well, let's give it a shot. If it don't work, then I'm gonna just have you fly back to the castle here,
Okay.
and then you gotta come back and get me.
Okay.
All right. So let's give it a shot. Then I'll like get on and I'll say,
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
if this works out, I'll see you
Mhm.
again. And then I just unsummon pseudo squigs.
Yeah. Um.
Squigs, look
You.
around this, see if you can
Yeah.
figure out which way Orestes.
Okay. So Squeaks kind of stays there for now, and you two, get onto the dragon's back, which is like it's going to be interesting. It's totally gonna be the question of if he can take off with both of you. It's probably fine. So let's call that just a strength check for the dragon, I guess. Let me just get my, what's this stat on that? Well, we'll see. I mean, he the
It's pretty good.
the most interesting thing about it
Pretty
is
good.
that right now you're in a quite dense forest. So what you would have to do anyway is to kind of get to a place where this dragon has enough space to kind of really spread the rings. So yeah, it's kind of lumbering through the forest for a little bit and getting to a point where that works. And as you find a good clearing, it's almost up to you if you want to rather go like uphill and closer to the mountains where the trees stop, or if you want to go to the river and go from there. But whichever one you would pick, as you get there and then get onto the dragon, you just kind of
I definitely want to go up and try and paper plane.
yeah. Okay.
That way, at
Okay,
least
so
we
it's
can
from the
get
higher
as far
ground.
as we can.
Yeah. Yeah, you do get to a nice little hilltop that actually is a little walk away, but not too bad. And the dragon does actually get to fly off with the both of you. It does take him a little bit to actually gain enough height, like where it seems like okay, now it's fine. It's actual good flight. It's still kind of a bit of a slower flight. Like it's definitely quite a lot of weight on his back for
Oh,
his
yeah.
size and just the wing size. So he has to flap his wings quite a lot.
It'll be. That's
But you do feel like his muscles move on his back, and it looks like he's getting a good exercise out of it. But he can get you back to Astoria.
Hell yeah.
Where would you want him to land?
In the courtyard.
In the courtyard. Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
And then as soon as I land, I summon squids.
Okay. So it's a very interesting flight, mostly because Honora is not exactly one to ride a dragon daily. So
I'm definitely giving her pointers on the way there. Like, now don't lean too far either direction.
Yeah. There's a few times when you have to basically react quickly, which is one of your strong suits. So it'll work out. But there are some times when it's like some people just don't do this naturally.
Yeah.
But with all of that, the landing part is almost the hardest. I'll actually give her. I think I've got her in here too, and I think she might have a little bit of it. Let me check. Yeah. What's her? Well, let's see. So as you land, she. Yeah, you just make a dex save, please.
All right.
You could also make something strength related, but I think dex is more,
Dex
is what you would do.
Oh, that dex is so safe. As soon as it comes across.
I mean, yeah. So yeah, she as
Not
the
bad.
dragon starts kind of going into like a landing kind of pattern where it starts to kind of go down in front, and she just kind of keeps like leaning forward too much on the dragon, and you kind of get this being scared of her just kind of falling forward when you're way too high. So you just kind of hold her, so you can actually land. But as the dragon actually lands, you kind of holding Anora in front of you just so she doesn't slide off and go somewhere, which you wouldn't be able to hold all her weight probably, as you're also sitting on a dragon. But as a kind of safety anchor, it works. Like she does, it helps her to stay back enough and all that. But as it's a little bit bumpy as the dragon lands with quite a lot of weight on his back, she totally slides off. Like she kind of goes right into you first, like goes back, and then kind of slides off to the left wing. And it's it's kind of head first. It's not perfect. Like it looks hilarious. It's she bumps her head a little bit, but you do get to let go and kind of lean out of the way, so she just slides down on her own.
Yeah.
But it's not the most gracious kind of landing for her.
I did my part, princess. He jumps off, be like, "Good job, little feet," and gives her a hand
She
up.
does not comment that part, like at all, and just looks like you see her looking around, who's who saw this, and unfortunately, a dragon kind of flying into the courtyard does kind of attract most of the looks from anyone that's around. So yeah, it's not perfect, but she tries to get over it.
Right now, they're a little bit more concerned with the fact that you're still alive. Come on.
Oh yeah, yeah, right. And yeah, you'll walk in there, where I guess you'll just go right to like the throne room that
Well, yeah, obviously.
is also, as you can see, kind of open right now, because there is this wine festival going on. And
yeah, and
you get right into the middle of a, it looks like a, it's not a contest, it's really just a wine tasting with some people that try to out describe each other. The funny thing though is that this year this festival is
I know
only
those people.
provided with wine from the horn. There's no other wine. There's just this wine. So if you just listen for like, you know, a few minutes, you'll figure that they're all trying to describe the exact same thing better, and there's several rounds of it. So it's, yeah, it's interesting.
like, wow.
What you do
Luckily, I
figure
showed
out
up.
is they put the wine like in different kinds of, like, it's different temperatures that they did, but that's all they can do. Yeah, it's you know,
It
they
was like
try their
walking
best.
in, you're like, wow, good thing I showed up. This party fucking sucks.
This one tastes horny. It's got a hint of
A slight
horn.
keratinous aftertaste, yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
I am sensing
Conch shell.
a bit of a shop aftertaste.
Seems to
Yeah.
have a shimmery aftertaste, very silver-like.
Yeah, it's all very, it's quite odd because, you know, normally they would probably try to guess like where the wine is actually coming from and, you know, all this stuff, and they can't really do that because, you know,
No, they can guess.
this
It's
fun.
coming from the
Yeah.
teeth of the dragon lords. All right, we hooked them up.
Yeah. But it's just everybody knows that, so you know. But they do try their best, and it's an interesting kind of you know, that there's like a silence following you coming in because people know what Honora looks like, and they also all thought she was dead.
Yeah,
And as
get
you
over
like
it. Where's
reach
that
the
at?
courtyard, you just have Pythor basically, you know, taking part in a wine judging contest.
What do you know?
You know, and being quite
Yeah.
like, you know, you left him quite happy in a lot of ways. Yeah, he's there, and he seems to be like as you get into the throne room, he's right there with a big like mug he's drinking out of, and laughing as you know, come into the room.
I'd be like, hey, Pythor, can I get one of those glasses?
He looks at you and just goes, "Oh, I've been wait," and he immediately sees Nora kind of like coming right, like she's next to you. Stops anything he might have said to you right now, and just kind of runs down and hugs Honora.
I just keep walking by and towards the wine and like pour myself a glass. I'm gonna take that as a
Okay. Where do you take the, like, where are you taking it from? From like his around Pythor's throne, or from the tables that are in the hall?
Whatever one's closest.
Well, it's almost like quite. You might be closer to one of the testers in the, just in the room.
Okay, fine. I'll take one. glasses.
but not by much. Yeah, it's. I mean, yeah. It's wine. There's
Yeah, he just put his whiskey.
there's wine in there. So you just drink some wine as you see Pythor just being like he seems to have forgotten everything else, but you do notice that he is not slurring as much and does seem pretty sober for how you knew him up to this point.
That's a welcome change.
Like it's almost like you now have a more clear look at who he really would be, technically. He looks very bright and there's he's much more awake in his eyes than he was before. And he just like goes up to Honora and it's a mixture of just apologizing heavily for all his weakness and all this not being able to do anything about it himself and how happy he is that she's back. That's just he's just kind of gushing out with it all. Ignoring everything else around him pretty much.
I would
But
kind of
seeming
like
very sober.
I'd kind of like take that opportunity and see who's like around the room, like that isn't normally around him. I want to look for the old lady.
Okay. Make a perception check.
Okay, because I want her to like clear everybody out that's not supposed to.
Okay.
Because now I feel like his this terrible wine tasting party can just stop. Like it does
Can
not
just
have to go
continue
on right
outside.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't take you long to like see. They always are kind of behind the throne in an area where they have chairs and some of those chairs are empty right now, but there's a few of those people just sitting there being just bored, but then very interested in what happens when you come in. They come in or they look at all of you, and you kind of meet the eyes of that old lady that you saw before. That was also standing behind Pythor when you had your talk.
I'd walk up to her and be like, "Hi there, ma'am. Why don't you clear out everybody that ain't supposed to be in here? Dad's gonna have a little time for this."
Oh, yeah. Well, yes, I was just about to say they could just go. Yes. She just walks up to another one of the looks like one of those unlucky ones that got kind of guard duty, but even they aren't really like guarding that much, and just goes up to him. Could you please maybe take our guests outside for a little bit? As she also goes then back to Pythor and kind of taps him very lightly. She's not as tall, so it should be the shoulder. It's more like the middle of his back, and kind of tries to complement them into one of the side rooms where there's a. It's still unless there's really no people in there, it's possible to hear what they might be saying, but there's also a door, so if they leave completely, then it would be private. And
Yeah.
just kind of tries to lead them back there while the guards start to kind of like suggest to move the party out into the courtyard pretty much.
Cool. I would sit up on little B and wait there in the throne room until
Okay.
done blubbering.
Yeah. So the two of the Pythor and his daughter do actually like vanish in kind of behind the throne. There's this area where it goes to private quarters, very obviously, and they do get led there pretty much. Yep, and everybody else, they do clear out. It takes some time. But Pythor and Anora are long gone by the time the last stragglers kind of leave the hall.
Then I asked the house staff for some fish while I wait.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's a bit weird because everybody that normally, tells people what to do is either gone or now it's seemingly you and that old woman kind of telling people what to do, but they don't seem to care that much. Yeah, but as far as you can tell, you managed to get Anora back to where she belongs, so that's cool.
Woo!
Nice job.
Good level.
That worked out a lot better than I was
He
thinking
stomachs
it would.
the.
I rolled
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah. I mean, it's very, very useful that you always have more than 2 eyes to use when you do anything, so that helps.
There's a lot of ways
Alright.
to ranger. Yeah.
There's
A lot of ways to ranger.
Yeah. So as all that goes on, we have Vulcan, we have the others kind of getting to the forge.
On the road again.
Yeah. How long does Solomon actually keep up his cheerleading? Like out
Is that a
of the
serious
gate,
question?
and then yes, it is. How long do you
The
like?
answer is yes.
Does he keep it up for the whole day?
Unfortunately, yes, of course.
You gotta keep them lats.
Okay.
Gotta keep them traps.
Yeah. So
Work hard, play hard.
yeah, it's definitely gonna be a very, very interesting ride in a lot of ways. But basically you're now cheering for whatever wildlife is left around this area.
Yeah, I'm pointing at squirrels, being like, "Fuck yeah,
Yeah.
Dragon Lords! Like, come get it!" Like, ooh.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of audience, but sure. And you do get, it's kind of evening by the time you get there, but you do get to the spot where you had left the horses last time when you got to the same waterfall and the forge / smithy. Yeah, and it's pretty much as you've left it. Like you do see your own tracks and all that, but it's still a very nice looking, peaceful place.
Hey, look, right over there is where you got beat up, Solomon, by that one girl.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was so hot.
I still think that dragon might not be such a good guy.
I mean, I guess him and Esther probably get along like 2 peas in a pod then.
What are you saying?
Peas in a pod.
Are you saying that the dragon's a good guy like Esther?
Okay, Sherwin. At this point, I think you're smart enough to know that pirates aren't usually on the good side of things.
Well, I suppose it just depends on what they're doing, right? What like
She was like super
stealing,
hot,
murdering, pilfering,
she can't be that bad.
kidnapping.
oh my gosh! You mean
That's what pirates do.
that's what we were doing?
I mean, are pirates different on your world versus mine? That's
Oh,
what pirates do in my
I'm
world.
gonna have a very firm talk with Esther when he gets back. I'll tell you, gosh darn it!
Yeah, Esther 100% told us you were a pirate for sure. Like, you need to like do some prayers and
Well,
a lot of holy water. You're gonna need some help.
Hey, you're gonna have a new church to do that in. Look for that.
I'm gonna
Very
need
handy.
it. I'm gonna need my new church. I think I'm gonna need it. I'm gonna need it real bad.
Oh, yep. So that's one revelation as you kind of get into the cavern system. I'll actually put
Well,
some of it.
we didn't leave anybody here to make sure that no additional threats moved in. So, I guess Vulcan, you should stay behind us, and we'll lead the way. Just kind of look around a little bit, make sure nothing changed, and we'll head down to the forge.
You just stay right behind me here.
Well,
Oh.
he's funny. Sherwin tells jokes. You guys can all stay the fuck behind me. Oh,
Yeah.
And I'll stay behind both of you. This works out great.
Well,
yeah.
I
Perfect.
suppose that works fine.
And
Yeah,
yeah, we're just going to
so-
the forge.
You just walk right pretty much like the way that you already know. On the way there, there's still, the few remains that you didn't throw into the hole, which is, I think, just some of those bird things, really, and a few of those two-headed dogs that were further off from the actual hole. They did not get thrown in, but other than that, there's just the middle hole. I actually have to put you into the other map, don't I? This one.
Don't trip over the stone chickens. You'll stomach
Yeah.
full.
So there's just like a kind of a blood pool and remains, but only traces of it. You didn't exactly swap the floor afterwards, but so it's still visible. But you threw everything in that's in the main chamber.
Couple of bodies,
Yes,
blood,
Yeah.
with trails all going to the abyss.
pretty much. Yeah, but you get right in front of the elevator.
Hey.
And Vulcan just kind of looks around and like he seems to know the place.
I'll
Yeah,
start
let him pull.
ritual
Hold on,
Try
let him
that.
pull the lever because kids always like pressing the elevator button.
I mean, that's fine, but we don't have to shoot the oil and flame on it. So let me cast my
Before,
tiny head
like
real quick.
he just raises his hand, goes into
High five.
the elevator.
Yeah, high five.
Okay, as he walks in, he just gets high-fived and doesn't know why. Looks very shortly in your direction and then just kind of
Oh,
shrugs and goes in.
You chose your words wrong. You chose the wrong word.
And then he goes,
Only way you can look.
well, you don't need to do any of that. I mean, if you really want to, you can. But it would be easier to just say, and then he goes in what you would assume is just Dwarvish, goes just Drachen, and he pulls the lever and just looks at you kind of questioningly. You want to come in?
Yeah, see, I told you they love pushing the button.
Wait,
The doors start to close.
so
Yeah, I'll get it.
Yeah, I'm
I'll
in.
slip
oh,
in
oh,
there.
oh. So,
Okay.
Mr. Vulcan, do you know what's down that big old hole?
Well, no, it wasn't a big hole when I was here last.
I'm sorry, what?
I assume if it goes down far enough, it might lead anywhere. Really, I'm very interested in mines and anything that is metallurgic in nature, but I have not tried to
According to our
pierce the earth
research
like this.
and our research and hypothesis show that that goes down to absolutely nowhere.
Hey, let me correct my friend. It's a very, very old hole. It's huge. All right, it's really big, really tall.
It
It's
does.
probably the oldest thing here.
Well, I do not think we should leave it as it is, and I think it is a very good idea to make sure nothing gets out or into the hole. I think any of this is probably a bad idea.
I
Good rule for most holes. Yeah.
I look at like Soren and Solomon when he says like don't put anything in the hole, like
Yeah.
just give them the look like
Yes.
nobody say shit.
Yeah.
But what
What are you
You
talking
sure?
about, Shu? What?
The blatant
you-
blood trails going to the edge of the hole. but,
We-
I give you the
Yes.
dog head turn. I
uh,
just don't understand.
we just
the head tilt.
Yep.
mm. yeah, we probably shouldn't put anything in the hole, right? But say
Oh, yeah.
say say that
Hypothetically.
say hypothetically, something went down into the hole.
But yeah, I threw a bunch of dead bodies in the hole. Threw lots of them. I was trying to throw them the furthest.
Vulcan just kind of looks at you and at all of you in turn and goes, well, that is even more of a reason to close this. I don't know what you might have
Fed?
made aware or fed.
I mean, we were just
I-
trying to clean up the place, to be honest. I mean, it was just
well,
like,
it's,
you know,
I appreciate the
it's a lot of
gesture.
corpses in here.
Well,
It is pretty
that is
dirty.
true. There is, just to make this clear, also direct access to a lava pit. That might have been the more reasonable way to dispose of anything, because
Oh,
I
I
think
threw bodies in there as well.
Just looks
Yeah,
at you.
the problem is the first body was like half rotten. Like my friend tried to
Yeah.
move it, and ended up kind of in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
at that point, like after having to like move it in you know lumpy gooey chunks, we just kind of decided we'll just in for a penny, in for a
It's
pound,
easy.
or I guess here would be in for a gold, in for a silver.
Man, this elevator's taking a long time.
Yeah, this
Well,
elevator went a
take-
lot faster last time.
Well, yeah,
It
it's a
does
long
take
ride.
about a minute to go down. And
My
it
shoes.
seems to like you hear some clicking noises, but nothing spills out of the dragon's heads, and there's no fire. Although it's very obvious that it did activate a couple of times because there's scorch marks. But nothing happens, and the doors open at the bottom of this. So I guess I'll just move you
This
all the
guy
way
casts
down.
some crazy spells.
And you
Hey,
get
Frederick,
out
we
of the
got your friend.
elevator. I'll just look for you guys. You're still in
You
here.
can
so
cast, like,
there you are.
Unfire.
So yeah, you just get there, and it's like it's quite obvious. There's a kind of a home look to Vulcan's face, like he's as confusing and annoying some of the things he's seen and heard are. He kind of seems to forget a lot of it
You're
as he kind of
welcome.
steps out of this elevator and just goes, it's been a long time.
Welcome home. I
Oh yeah,
guess?
do we want to tell him about the snaps?
I'm sorry.
The snaps?
I'm sorry. The what?
Yeah, do. Want to tell him about the snaps? The big orb it triggers snaps.
Oh,
Oh.
the traps?
No, or no, no, the snaps. They're dangerous. Kill everybody.
I
Again?
really just don't know what he's talking about this time.
I'll put Vulcan in there with you.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, Vulcan looks
the-
about as confused as you are, but he also kind of wants to go and just like look at everything. So he would definitely, go ahead and kind of just walk into both this room here and look at what it looks like and what he can possibly use in there. And then he'll go up to the actual, up here to the fire pit where the fire snake lives with, whatever name you are ending up giving him.
Frederick.
Yeah,
Huge asshole.
probably.
So, can we count on you to keep an eye out for flaps?
Yeah, I got 2 eyes out on them, and that's as high as I can count.
Yeah.
Uh, I'll look where you are not looking.
Perfect.
Okay.
I mean, how many hits does it take to desummon Tut Tut?
Oh, I mean, that's like a question of how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. You know, it's like 1, 2, 3 is usually pretty good.
There's
What, you bite him?
well, there's definitely a crunch after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you,
Aw.
I think that's cheating.
Oh shit! I just counted.
The crunch.
I just got a new PR in counting. Just counted to 3. Fuck. Ruined
I
that.
didn't want to
did.
say anything.
You did. Wow. I mean,
Fuck
I
that up.
totally missed that.
God
I was
damn
sitting
it.
there like, is nobody gonna mention that?
I
he
just said. I just. Whatever.
It was
Whatever.
as
Grow
high as
up.
you could, high
Shut-
as you could
Grow
count,
up.
Solomon, I'm very proud of this breakthrough for you.
yeah. Well, I guess it
Bro,
also makes
I
sense if
honest-
he doesn't even know how
That's
high
how
he
I
can
count.
It's
All I count is
probably
how many hits
you
I do
wore
on
the
Tut Tut
headband
to
for a
kill.
little bit, and it's had an effect. You're smarter.
Yeah. By a
Ooh,
whole
geez.
number.
Yeah, one whole more number.
Maybe
We'll work on 4 next.
maybe you want to try it on again.
For what?
And I go to
Alright,
take it
go-
off
go
my
on,
head.
Do stuff.
Oh, no,
I'm
that's
done
scary.
distracted.
As
That's
you're
scary.
just kind
That's
of.
almost as scary as Tut Tut.
Oh wow. As you're kind of, back there, being busy, just with all that, Vulcan just kind of walks up to this huge lava and uses those kind of stone steps that are at the side to get up to a point where he can look over. And he just starts talking in Ignan, which 2 of you do know. And is calling out for a Khafashaf, which you know as Freddy.
Oh, we call him Frederick now. I'll say it in Edmund.
Okay. He looks at you with a kind of a questioning look.
I mean, I learned it
Well,
one day. We'll just race past that.
I give him a thumbs up.
he just kind of as the fire snake actually kind of like just peeks out of the lava. He does get distracted from that whole idea of him not being called by the name that he knows.
Hey, Frederick.
Hi, Frederick.
Bring it right back.
Yeah, I mean
asshole.
those two. Yeah, and I mean you can totally take part in the conversation because you actually know what it means. Like they're talking in Ignan. So Solomon, you're the only one right now in the room that just hears a bunch of hisses and sounds that
I
Oh
you've
weird.
heard before.
Weird.
but-
I don't know what to do because I don't know what's going on. I'm pretty sure I'll be
Yeah.
fine.
That's true. That's the default state.
I feel like I'm
like normal.
I'm kind of trying to mildly like translate,
Okay.
but like
No, dude, just save
no,
everybody.
just
Don't.
my translating skills are
Yeah.
not the best.
All right.
Well, there
Everything
is
I
very
everything I
elaborate
say sounds like a
kind of
fireplace
greeting.
crackle.
All right.
There's definitely this very like it does definitely feel like they know each other. But Freddy does very quickly kind of get to the point that he's been trying to make all along about there being this trap, and he doesn't like the trap.
You-
Yeah,
you-
he keeps talking about that trap. He won't go. He's like over and
Yeah.
over again.
do you know what this what's that thing, Vulcan? And I point over to the orb.
He looks at it and he uh, goes around to like have a closer look, looks back at both of you, and just goes, "So you didn't put this here, right?"
No, we
This
found it here.
looks quite
I mean, I can move it if
elaborate.
you want me to.
Should we throw it in the
You
hole?
just-
We kind of
Yeah, I
thought
can
about
just
throwing it
throw
in
it
the
down
hole.
the hole. Yeah.
he gets this look of, I think I
I'll
told
get rid
him
of it
before.
right
I
now.
definitely did tell him before. Um, and then just says, "No, we should not throw that much in the hole because we might find out what's in there."
So
And then he
so
just goes,
roll it.
Roll it. Do we? Where do you want to put it then? Should we
I'd
leave it
rather
here?
throw it. I'd rather throw it, honestly.
See that
he very quickly figures out to, like, he lies down on the floor on the stone slabs and looks at those runes, like he feels all over this thing, tries to figure out if there's any kind of way to access it or open this in any way, doesn't feel any cracks or anything, and then just goes underneath and finds the runes. And you hear him kind of, well, you've learned the language, but you wouldn't have like
I can
perfect
speak
knowledge
it, but
of
I
it yet.
can't read it.
You hear something that is definitely sounds like it probably was just some kind of curse in Ignan, which you did not learn just by talking to Freddy up to
Oh,
now.
Yeah, we can't read
Interestingly.
it. That would make any sense.
Soren, I think you said a bad
Um,
word.
No, he
Um,
just kind of like it's almost like he's angry at something, really, and then he just goes, "Well, whoever put this here was very elaborate about this whole thing. We need to get this away from here, but I don't think I can deactivate it completely. Well, maybe I can." And you see him just kind of lying there and looking up at the runes, very obviously, and like mumbling to himself for a few minutes until he just goes to a kind of like he looks up to mostly the two that also speak Ignan, I guess, and just goes, "Okay, so we have a few choices here. This is very obviously a trap, and it would go off in lots of ice, I would assume. I cannot read this perfectly. It's some form of enchantment that I'm not all that familiar with.
So if it gets frozen or ice on it, it'll go off.
For
It is definitely some form of an ice trap."
for lack of
Oh,
a
it'll
better
create
term,
ice.
that's pretty cold.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess so. I mean, that would be cruel punishment for a fire-based creature. Well, can we move it without activating it? Like, it's how? What is the? How does it
Well,
get triggered?
I can beat it up.
I feel
I
like
can make it small.
Throw it down the
That is
hole.
true.
Or we could throw it in the lake outside. Yeah.
I'll
Oh.
throw it any way you
Oh.
want. Honestly, I don't really give a shit.
There's a certain like there's a temptation in this.
He
Like,
wants me to
getting
die.
rid of it.
It's like, man, I can take two
I
blood stones and take out this giant guy.
Yeah. But
Shady.
He wishes.
the thing is, I think this is meant to prevent our friend here from activating the forge again. Because, as far as I can tell, it would go off as soon as the sphere gets too far away from him, well, from her. Pointing to Freddy in the lava pool.
Are you saying Frederick is actually Frederica?
Well, yes. It's complicated. I might, kind of looking back, I've never asked, but I think it was he before until we called her Pierre, and she went back to being a she. But that's another story for another time.
So that checks out. That's fine.
Yep.
Just look at Soren
So I
like,
think it's all made
what?
to just prevent the forge from working, which I have a good idea that this might have been some of the followers of our Titan friends, but I cannot deactivate it completely. I think there is a chance to disable it for some time, or to maybe just break it, but it will still release the cold. And I don't want to do this anywhere close to her, because I think, well, they knew what they were doing. So
I mean, it activates if it gets really hot, right?
well, it'll activate as soon as this sphere gets too far away, and it's probably not all that very far from our friend here. So we need to, if we
What
get it
if I?
further away from this pool of lava, we will have to deal with whatever goes off, which will hurt us, but would hurt a fire being even more.
Well,
So what if I get close to Frederica? Right. Is that what we settled on?
I mean, I just want
Sure.
to, I just want to be polite.
Yeah. I mean, no, for sure. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to mess that up. That's exactly what I was thinking. So what if I get close to Madam, and I do the tiny hut, and
Uh-huh.
then perhaps that could shield her from the effect long enough for us to move the orb. I mean, I'm spitballing here.
I mean, I do have the ability to bring somebody back, back, like, to make them alive again.
So okay, yeah. Well, what if? Hmm,
And I could always throw it in the hole. You know,
I've never died. I've never died before. What if I did tiny
I've
hut
died lots
around?
of times.
What if I did tiny hut around the orb, and then triggered it? But I would have to be inside. That would contain the damage to just a 10-foot area.
I mean, I could cast
Yeah.
it too, and then it'd be 2 times as powerful.
Are you guys? You sure you got me? You're not gonna let me die? Or if I do die, only for a little bit?
Well, see, now that well, see, I need I need like a diamond or something. Yeah, you don't got a diamond, do you, Mister Faulkner guy?
He kind of like starts looking around and actually goes into the room with those other lava vats,
Oh,
which is
shit.
like the forge.
Oh,
And just calls
those are
out from
trapped
back
too.
there. Well, I don't think there's anything left. I'm sure there was a lot of it here, and I know we had a lot of them in our mines, which now are a big hole.
So I could find a diamond, maybe. I really don't want to jump
if at
down the
all, then
hole.
in the hole, and I really don't want anyone to go in there.
I'll tell you what, we already went down in the hole, kind of like we did this thing where we summoned this bird, and then Esther, the little furry guy, he got into the mind of the bird, and he was just kind of doing the thing, and they were flying, and they did it for a very long time.
I
You
mean, I guess I could summon my familiar and have it fly around in the mine, maybe, for a little bit.
And we
You
just leave
see,
out that the bird went insane.
like there's a
at the end.
certain desperation in his eyes, like he's starting to feel like he's, yeah, just it's It's hurting cats. It's,
I mean, I'm offering
it's
off
sad.
myself here for your mission, buddy.
Um,
Like, we just need a diamond.
well, so here's the thing. If it's just about possibly dying, I don't mind. I cannot die.
Well,
Oh.
yeah, but you
Also
can't. You
the
can't make the
little-
hut.
Well, no, I would just need to be quick enough to get far enough away with this thing to preferably, and that's the main problem that I'm trying to figure out right now, without solidifying all our good lava here, because it really is quite a pain to dig through, meters of solidified lava after it's got hit by ice magic. Is
You're a
there
weird
any
kid.
way
Well,
you could?
what if we just protected him, madam, with the, well, like what if you just kind of made it the little ball like thing on top of the pit here? It might be really hot while you cast it, but
Yeah,
but
I would
the,
have to get in the lava. I don't know.
well, I mean,
Yeah, I guess that's the point. um,
we could grab some of
Are
the
you
woods
still
and stuff like that.
saying all this in Ignan, or are we? Did you switch over to common?
I speak in common every
I
chance
just
I
keep
get.
I just
Yeah.
keep nodding my head
I'm probably
viciously,
still
looking
speaking
at everybody.
in Ignan,
Just
Okay.
just because
So
I've
it's kind
started
of a
that.
mix. You get like half the picture. Um, there is. Let me actually check. There is 2 things they can do, and I think yeah. I don't think that's gonna. Let me roll 2 things here. So that's a 25. So Vulcan just goes, well, I know how to jam this for some time, so I can make this sphere inactive for a few seconds. I'm also sure that if we then can make this smaller or just easier to transport, we can probably get it further away, right?
I mean, I absolutely, I can make it about half the size of its current size.
So
But I don't like the idea of you running off with it. It seems like the whole purpose of this like trap and everything was to prevent you from being here. So you don't think there might be some secondary condition that might hurt you if you take the risk?
well, the worst thing that could happen is I die and just wake up again. I don't.
Would you wake up here? Would you wake up like
Would you
so-
lose your
no.
memory?
somewhere else?
Oh, it's we have a temple. We tend to get back there whenever we die, I guess you could say.
Oh, I'm gonna have a
But-
temple someday.
Well, yes, it's a temple that seems to draw our essence towards it every time that
Where-
anything happens.
Where's the temple?
It's a Mitros.
Oh,
You know,
we keep hearing about Mitros.
I don't know why you
Well,
guys
it's
are all
a big city.
I don't know why you guys are all so afraid of dying. Like I could do it. Tut Tut wants to die all the time.
You know, I'm not really afraid of dying. I mean,
Not
I'll
wrong.
tell you, like, you
Well,
know,
I mean, I'm afraid of dying if you can't bring me back.
well, you know,
But, no, but
I
what I'm saying is like, Tut Tut just wants to die. So if somebody needs to die, we could just have Tut Tut do it.
Oh, so you wanna strap it to Tut Tut and have him run?
I mean, it's easier to dispel.
I mean,
Right,
but
do the
how-
work.
Do we have any idea of how far the effect of this trap would be? Like,
No, I'm not very good with like so-called maths. But I do know that pretty sure this motherfucker had 60 feet of fucking movement. Let me double check. Let me check.
I mean, I could probably summon a mount or something, but the elevator's kind of an issue. It can't go down the hole, so it's got to go to the elevator. The elevator takes at least a minute to go up.
Well, see, how long
So
were we flying that bird down there? Seems like a long time.
It was.
It
Oh,
was
yeah.
a long time.
So I mean, you
Yeah.
know, maybe Tut could just go jump down the hole, and you know, he probably won't reach the bottom if it's
Yeah,
going to
the
get so
problem is-
far away.
if it goes off too fast, then it could go off in the other room and then freeze all the magma in there, and then the forge is broken.
Well, do we need the magma in there or just in here? We need it
think I'll
everywhere.
Ken just answers that pretty quickly. Well, the forge room, the actual forge, is off to the side over there. This is just our, I guess, heating reservoir and also the main living space for Achafashaf here. But
I guess we'll have to have everything. So
Well, yeah, and you know, I mean, again, don't know much about maths, but I know he has roughly 40 feet of movement.
does how large is this trap, Vulcan? Do you know? Like, if it goes off, is it 20-foot radius? Is it 10-foot radius? I mean, how large would this trap be?
I would assume it's probably a bit more than 20 feet.
Well-
Not all that much more.
So what if we just
Between 20 and 40.
pushed it like down there?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. How instead of Tut, I actually worked on something to so I never have to see Tut ever again. And I'm gonna go. I'm gonna ritual cast Phantom Steed.
Okay.
Oh, all right. We're just
Okay.
one up in here. Is that what we're doing here now?
I
guys?
think he is.
Is this the
I-
game we're doing?
I learned 2 spells, and Tut influenced one of them. So
That is fair.
way to role play it, buddy.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
I need my own Tut.
Yeah.
God, not a Tut. I
I'm
guess I
so
could make it
tempted
look
to
like.
just fucking cast Tata right
Oh.
now. Damn now. just give
I mean, you have plenty of time. It's gonna take me 11 minutes to ritual cast.
Yeah. I mean, he
You
does
have plenty
take
of
his time
time to
with it.
toss.
He does that.
You have plenty of time to toss out a Tut.
Mm-hmm.
No, mine's 10 minutes too. The second you sit down, I'd have to sit down.
It's a race.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it.
Mine is 11 minutes because I got a ritual cast. So
Yeah.
you would definitely beat me.
By a minute.
Ooh.
Yep.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Unless you take a minute
respect
to
the
figure
player.
out what he's doing.
Do
Then,
you
of
think you would
course,
figure
you
that
know.
out in a minute? No way.
Yeah.
No. Who
yeah,
are we kidding?
there is that.
I honestly, I think you should go ahead and pull it Tut.
The second you pull him out, though, I'm just gonna be like, oh, just like sit down and try to start.
Okay. So as that happens, yeah, just as a side note, Esther can, if he wants to, just either go back to the forge because you know that the others are there, or if there's anything else you want to do in the city, then just stay there and let me know. While the others are summoning steeds in the area. So what you do know about this trap is that it seems to be the distance from this fire snake. It seems to be the thing, and it seems to tether the fire snake to that pool, basically. And it probably has a radius that is big enough to, still get the fire snake if it were to try to basically just run. Because it seems very obviously like this lava pool in the middle here must have some below ground connections to other tunnels that probably are all full of lava, but it's obviously what the thing lives in, but it doesn't seem to get very far away from this sphere because it kind of feels this tether to it, and feels like it can't outrun it. So that gives you an idea that it would have some radius that is not, not all that small. Yeah. And you know that Vulcan would very much like the lava to be unaffected, if at all possible. He's also not exactly very happy about this idea of throwing stuff into the hole, but then again, if you have any convincing arguments, like that's the one way we can get this done, sure, you'll have to figure it out with Vulcan, basically.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's the most logical decision.
It is kind of a very logical decision. That's why I'm saying it's just that, you know.
Well,
I mean, you're the ones
there,
who
Vulcan.
the
Do you want
went in there.
lava? Do you want your
Murder
fucking
the-
hole?
So we'll run it down to the southern room. I think that's the best bet. I think Sherwin had a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, we could just push it down there. We could build it like a little barrier in front of it, and then just keep on
Well,
keeping on.
I'm thinking I'll make this mighty magical arcane steed I've been working on, and then we'll tie it to it, and it'll have it just run down. I can even make it smaller so we can tie it to it like, right on the creature as opposed to dragging behind it. We'll just have him run full blast right at that wall.
All right. Well, Tut
Yeah.
Tut has 2 heads, so is that.
So as I cast, I'm supposed to choose the form that this creature takes. As I start to complete the spell, I can't get the image of Tut Tut out of my head. A Tut Tut appears, and all you hear is no.
Okay.
Solomon, why
His
why
name-
did you
his
summon
name-
Tut Tut?
His name's got to be Tut 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 Tut.
Don't give him a name. He'll stick around.
That's he
It was
seems
an accident.
sad.
Of course
This
he's
is
sad.
incredible. I didn't see this
You
coming,
guys went tut for tut.
dude.
Yeah.
Oh, I sit down and I start summoning Tut Tut. I just see him and I forget about all the glory of
Oh,
Tut
2
Tut.
of them. Oh,
I'm just
wow.
saying,
Oh,
I'm
okay. I guess
summoning
we can
Tut
try to
Tut.
lash it between the two of them and have them run together.
Oh yeah,
Do you
they
guys
would
have
love to die
anything
together.
stretchy?
Just Tut Tut.
Let's put something stretchy between both tut tuts, and then just hold on to the trap, and all of you guys just
Yeah.
hold on as hard as you can, and just be like,
Oh
go,
my
go, 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 then just plong.
Oh my god.
Oh, wow.
So we'll get our mounts cast. I got some rope. We'll go
Yeah.
ahead and I'll use reduce to half the size, and we'll just lash it to him real quick, and then have him run full force at the wall.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, they want to die, so.
Yes,
Speed of
they're-
thing.
honestly, I felt like it was really appropriate that it was Tut Tut, simply because I do want it to
Yeah.
run smash into a wall and die.
Yeah.
It's the
Like,
perfect
which is-
job.
Tut Tut
The
always
Ocean's
wants,
Elevens of Tut Tut.
right. Tut Tut always wants to die. This is the
Yeah.
mission
Yeah.
that he was
This is
born
it.
for.
Yeah.
This is it.
Absolutely. Wow. So,
Finally, a mission I can get behind. I'm in, all in, sir.
It's like an M. Night Shyamalan movie. Like, we've seen glasses of water laying around the room all movie, and now the aliens are here.
pretty much. Yeah, so I guess it's summon seed anyway, so yeah.
I just whispered to Vulcan, I see dead people.
Yeah. You're about to see a lot more, dude.
So they have, what's their, I mean, it's in a range of 30 feet that you can cast it, but that's not really the thing. Normally you have like those, like, just stat wise, I would go for just using Tut-Tut's stats because, it's the same thing, basically. So that was, I think, 40 feet, right, of movement?
Yeah. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
I chose a mastiff. I wish
Yeah.
I would have chose the like the warhorse or whatever, but
Warhorse,
I
yeah.
like the mastiff because it has a bite and we're counting
Yeah.
that as a sting, so that was cool.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Mine goes really fast. It's probably dragging Tut Tut.
Yeah.
It does like
So,
13 miles an
yeah.
hour.
Perfect. So you have, one that's just being, dragged behind the other, I guess.
I mean, flesh
But you-
shield. It's just a flesh shield.
Oh,
Tut-Tut's dragged
We got a
behind
Tut Tut
I
in
mean,
front and
swear
Tut
to
Tut in
God.
the back.
Yeah.
Explosion.
Yeah.
So I guess
Yeah.
there's one that's trying to kind of push, but the other one pulls also very hard. So it's more like getting dragged / pulled / being another weight
I
like
just go
behind it.
go.
This
go,
this is
go,
terrible.
I mean,
There's
And you
four
just-
heads.
you make
trying
up
to
stuff
go
we
in a
can kill.
straight line.
you know,
Um,
our own
with
victory.
all the sounds that at least one of those two Tut-Tuts make, you see them kind of vanish into the southern room here. So it's like, basically just, going as far as they can into that room back here. And they just, run down there. And you do hear, like before that, there is Vulcan does something to those runes. I think, Soren, you might have kind of an idea that he managed to somehow maybe just kind of melt away a little bit of some of the runes somehow, or just make it, not as functional for a little bit, but it also heals back quite quickly. And there is a few like clicking sounds as the sphere gets dragged away from this lava pool. And then it just, as it's about, well, I measured so they can actually get it quite far, because that's 40 feet.
Tut, 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 tut.
So as they get right there, or at least one of the Tut-Tuts is in front of it, so the one of them gets like right up to the wall, and the other one just kind of
Face first.
shoves behind. Face first.
Lumbering,
think
just
just
lumbering behind.
Loads
Blah blah
in,
blah blah.
yeah.
Wow.
And
Right.
it just
Face.
It's
all
like
of
it has like one mouth. It's like drooling with a big old tongue hanging out of its mouth,
Aw.
out of its bill, like drooling constantly. It's like a nose has like a ton
Okay.
of mucus coming out of it. It's just like wow. It's just gross. It's gross.
Okay.
Ugh.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
But as they get to the end of, like, as far as they can go, pretty much, there's a blue flash and a white mist just kind of obscures the whole area. And then there's the silence, this weird silence of both of those Tut-Tuts just suddenly stopping to say anything. The good thing is this is a very quick kind of it's not like usual when you just smash it to death with
Whew.
I get the same thank you in my
You
ear
know.
every time. Just
What
Yeah.
normally happens.
yeah.
you.
But, exactly, you do get that, but you don't have any of the usual accompanying sounds. So it just is quiet after this rush of cold. And you actually see that the walls in this tunnel and in this room, everything just has an ice coating. It's quite thick for just being like a second of, as at least seems like a second of an actual like ice explosion. But it coated everything with about maybe an inch or so of solid ice. And no Tut-Tuts to be seen.
That was a cold trap, fellas. Cold trap.
It did, like, pretty much just make the whole corridor, the southern one, become like an icy area. But yeah, it did not reach into the room. So good job on that.
All right. All right. Oi.
It is now away from its target. And as soon as the fire snake kind of sees this explosion, there's this immediate going down into the lava. Like it doesn't wait for anything at all. Just dives down. Maybe for, to just be sure that doesn't get hit.
Valid.
But Vulcan just turns around.
Valid.
Well, so with any luck, and he just kind of walks towards the forge. And just keeps, I think, because he knows and he can do that, yeah. So he'll go right up to there, actually to there. Go into the tunnel and just stays there and looks. And it takes maybe 15 seconds or so until you hear some kind of little bit of like a rushing sound, but it's somewhere underground. And then there's another very loud kind of like a popping sound. And then the whole room just explodes in fire. There's 2 big streaks of lava that just come out of the walls. There's also like the same thing kind of seems to be in the in the ceiling as well. So there's a few places in this room that if anybody had been there would have been, covered in lava by traps. But Vulcan just kind of stands there like, he knows this stuff pretty well. And goes, well, that looks good. And walks into the room as soon as those lava streams seem to kind of go away. And there's a hole in the middle of the room that all the lava kind of flows into. Not all of it does flow all the way there. Some of it just solidifies on the way. But, it kind of collects whatever gets far enough. Yeah, and he walks into the room. And is ready to get to work.
Job, mates. Looks like, I mean, Tut Tut would have loved to see this. Kind of a bummer.
I don't know if we would have.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he just doesn't want to be alive, so. That's true.
I'm gonna go around the corner and hang out by myself for a second, and then after about 10 to 12 minutes, you just hear, no! Another 10 to 12 minutes. No! Oh, stop!
Yeah.
I'm sure he's having a good time.
I look back and I go, your first Tut Tut, huh? Yeah,
The room is
not
full of
great.
tut-tuts.
Yeah.
It won't
Takes a
stop!
while to get used to.
Yours
Yeah.
also
Can't get it out of my head!
Yeah. So,
Just breathe.
like, are they as vocal as the original
Oh,
one?
absolutely. They're
are they-
everything that
okay.
I envisioned Tut Tut to be. So, if anything, they're probably a little bit more exaggerated than the normal.
Yeah.
Tut.
Okay, so yeah, there's now the sound of I don't know how many tut-tuts
How many spell
coming.
slots you
Depends
got?
on how long- it depends on how long they took.
Yes.
I would be ritual casting them, so every 11 minutes, you would just hear cursing coming
Yeah,
from down
yeah.
the hall.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that
They
would
start
be quite
fading
slow.
after an hour, so
Yeah.
I could
So
get
you'd have
like
about
5 or
five.
6 up. Yeah.
5 or 6 at one time. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and you guys always say I'm not paying attention. I see it all the time. Brutal.
yeah. Yeah.
I worked on this spell for hours.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I feel about all this right now. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you.
Guess we're all getting tut-tuts now.
Oh,
Oh, he's good. He's cute. He just wants to die though. You just gotta come to that reality, and then everything gets a lot easier.
I'm sure it is. Oh, wow. So, yeah, you do manage to get rid of the trap on that thing. I'll actually, make a little
Oh
ramp
yeah.
thing over there. Um, Vulcan also turns back. So all we need to do now is fix the hole, and then we can finally get to work. Yeah, I guess the fixing the hole is the task for next time.
What?
But you got rid of the thing, so unless this fire snake gets close to the sphere again, I guess you seem to be safe from it. Also, as long as you don't go into that room, should be fine. But it looks like you removed it from the trigger, so yeah, good job.
We did
Um,
it.
You
You did
you
it.
got rid of it, yeah. And now all that's remaining is basically figuring out what to do with this big hole that's like back there in this, former mine part of this.
Well, the way Soren's going, we could just fill it with tut-tuts here in no time.
And they love it too. It's just,
Yeah. Yeah.
it-
Because there's now more than one. They're trying to help each other die. So like once.
Oh,
One's
no.
fighting the other.
I'm just gonna go
Head against the wall.
over to Soren, put an arm around him, and be like, Tut's an interesting creature. They're beautiful creatures. All right. You just have
Yeah.
to let them live out their existence. Should not be much. They really want to die. All right. When they're born, they gotta die. All right. And it's pretty brutal. I'm a tough lad, and I pat you on the back maybe a little too hard. Not before hard. But I pat him on the back, and I just go like, it's a hard reality to come to, but with this, we're not the masters, all right? We're the servers, okay?
Can you say the name of your god just one more time?
Baphomet, Havmet,
Okay.
Havmet.
This is torturous.
This is perfect.
We learned a lot of things from Tut Tut, just like that. Life is a lot like Tut Tut.
Did I get cursed when I fell asleep in that palace? Is this a curse? Is this how curses work?
I don't think so.
Yours is in a dream. Mine seems to be by waking life.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
standing right here.
what?
I didn't say. Yeah, I guess yeah. Big hands. Big hands. Big hands. Big hands.
Do,
You're gonna be all right. And I shake his hair, his hood, put my, you'll be all right. And I'll just kind of walk.
Okay.
You owe me a story.
Yeah.
Oh, this
The
one time
story
Tut Tut, when Tut Tut came out and he needed to die and I had nothing on me, right?
Oh.
Oh, we'll do this later. Sorry, we're not going to bed yet. I'll finish it later.
so I ripped him in half.
I'm never gonna get over this tut thing.
No. This is the thing now. Oh, wow. I mean, yeah, congrats on all of that. That was pretty good in a
All of it.
weird way.
Congrats on all of it.
Just perfect.
No, it wasn't good.
We return the king's daughter, disarm the trap, and we're set up to reforge the magic weapons of the original Dragon Lords. It's silly how we got here, but we accomplished a lot.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, we did.
yeah.
Yes, we did.
It's
That was like in one fell swoop too. We're just like, and a bunch of shit got done.
It's like
It's true.
it's like the video game where you finish all your quests and then turn them all in at once.
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much.
So we're level 20.
Absolutely, right?
We won the game.
You get a bunch of like getting Anora back and getting the trap to be out of the way and starting the forge again is definitely gonna get you a bunch of XP. I'll just say to make it easier to get it all, like get you all keep you on the same level kind of. Let's say that's 2.5k to each of you.
Oh yeah.
Today. And I will say that there is more to be had if you also manage to figure out how to make this whole thing go away. Because that's
We're in
the
trouble.
one thing that Vulcan just also still has in mind, but he's also very keen on forging some items. Mostly for you. So yeah, there's definitely that. So
All right.
you do have a forge that is working, and it looks like you also did not, nobody was in the room when the traps went off, so
We
that's
did
good.
it. We did it. We did it. Yeah.
And yeah.
We cut it kind of close a couple times, I think.
That is, I mean, yeah. And I think you don't like. There were a few things that could have gone very differently, but it
I think
worked all out in the end.
if we learned anything today, it's that 4 heads are better than 2.
Dude, oh my god, fucking
Yeah.
sorry.
By the
Sorry,
power of
dude, the
Tata.
fucking being like, it's
Yeah. Yeah.
wow,
The
that was
room full of.
fucking
There's
sweet.
got to be just 4 tut-tuts in a circle somewhere, all biting one of the ones to their right, trying to kill
They
each
will
other.
get back at some point. I mean,
Esther's gonna walk in and just be like, "What
they
the
will
fuck?"
honk to the new ones.
On it,
They're
baby.
like the most. They're like the most horrible version of me seeks ever.
Yeah.
They really
is being like comforted about death.
Oh
by
my god, I
Solomon.
swear to God,
Yeah.
With a flame in the back.
I swear to God, I came up with Tut Tut like on the spot, and then
Yeah, but it's so
it's just
good.
evolved in this
Dude,
beautiful
I-
Yeah.
thing.
I was sitting here trying to figure out what am I going to make this thing look like? Am I going to make it look like a giant Esther that you can ride? Am I going to make it look like I was going through all these different ideas,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, dude, he just said Tut Tut. I'm terrified of Tut Tut.
Yeah.
There's no way I can get Tut Tut out of my head. I'm gonna do a wisdom save. I'm gonna give myself a decent sized DC, and I'm just gonna see where I let the dice
Yep.
decide. And the dice decided it was Tut Tut, and then it was just funny
Yeah.
to roll with. So now it's gonna always be Tut Tut.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. I will say I'm sorry.
Still
I will absolutely also
good.
take into account that these things are never quiet. Just so you are
No,
aware.
Oh
never.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
Whenever
yeah.
you summon them, they are, screaming for death.
Shrieking.
I mean, I'm glad you mentioned that because Soren cares.
Yeah.
Solomon does not.
Yes. Yeah, I'm
You're
aware
thinking
that
I'm
that's
2 steps
just a-
ahead
just so
than
you
you
know
can
that
count.
I'm aware of the fact that they are, like, both of your versions also do make those sounds. So yes.
They're like the goats from Thor: Love and Thunder. They're just out there.
Yeah. So
You know, I
yeah,
feel like
it's
you're trying
not a
to.
quiet night.
You're fine. I understand where you're coming from. I feel like you're trying to be like, here's a penalty to it. There's no penalty to having something in your party that is totally willing to die. It is
No,
like
there's not. Yeah.
so
It's just you're not
good.
gonna do it quietly. Is all
So
I'm
good.
saying.
No,
It's not
definitely not.
technically doesn't need to be a penalty. It can also be a very much an advantage to have something that's just gonna be loud whatever you do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that's Tut Tut's real power is
Advantage on intimidation checks.
Oh yeah.
I don't
Anything that
know,
doesn't
man.
know this thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's
we're like we're looking for somebody that's willing to sacrifice themselves. Bring out the Tut Tuts.
Thank you all so much for tuning in, watching. We appreciate you. We will be back same time next week. You guys are all stars. If you haven't already, join us on Discord. Links up on the screen. We'll go ahead and post one in chat right here. You're a champion. I hope the rest of your day, the rest of your night, whatever time it is absolutely stellar. Take care, guys.